What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome to today's video where we're going to be quickly previewing the upcoming NFC wildcard matchup between my Philadelphia Eagles and the Chicago Bears. These previews, we did them earlier on in the season. Just things got a little bit too busy down the end where I was unable to make them. But now that we're back in the playoffs, you better believe we're going to be talking about this big-time matchup. And then you might be saying to yourself, wow, it's the third day of 2019, C4. No Madden gameplay? No NCAA gameplay. Things have been disastrous over here on that standpoint. I was hoping this year would open up with a bang. I'd be able to buy a brand new graphics card, be able to pump out videos higher quality than ever before. It's been the exact inverse. My computer's hard drive crashed the other day. I'm running off my SSD, which is already juiced to the gills and full to the gills. I have no space right now. I'm going to have to, overnight tonight, rework everything so that I can actually record and capture some Madden tomorrow on my PC. Because obviously, you know, we need to get to the rebuild this weekend. And I want a Madden video to drop tomorrow, which, hint, hint, wink, wink, might be the Husky Super Bowl. Don't know. But from that standpoint, it's just been impossible for me up until this point to record any Madden. I've been trying to salvage the hard drive. The last couple days, that's all I've been doing. And, you know, I've pretty much exhausted all my options. I'm going to have to say screw it and order a new one. So anyone out there that's thinking about having to build a computer or anything, F Seagate. Do not support or buy anything that's Seagate. It's garbage. And you say, C4, well, you still got NCAA, right? Oh, do I? The Elgato game capture that I use to record my gameplay off my 360, the software has also just decided to brick up on me. I'm currently waiting to get back from their customer support, but essentially the program, there's only one program you can use to capture my NCAA gameplay, ain't working. So far to start 2019, it's been incredibly hectic. But I promise tomorrow's video will be Madden. I'll be able to make it work and run it all off my SSD. For those of you that actually know what that is, you know, it's a smaller hard drive. Anyways, we'll be good tomorrow. But tonight, I got to get a video out. Want to get this video out. Let's preview this matchup between the Bears and the Philadelphia Eagles. So first up, we got to give a round of applause. I haven't officially told everyone. Thank you, Chicago. I put faith in the Bears last year. When the Philadelphia Eagles played the Chicago Bears, we beat them. I said, you know what? This Bears team, they might have something here. I think, you know, if they get a brand new head coach, they get a couple more pieces, maybe an offense at wide receiver, I'm looking there. Maybe they get someone on defense. They're going to be a legit contender next year. I'm pulling for them to be my turnaround team. Those are my exact words from my Philadelphia versus Chicago Bears grade video from last year. Since then, Bears fans on Twitter, Bears fans on my Discord have been saying, you know what, C4, you believed in us since day one. Let's see what happens this year. And then what happened? They got Matt Nagy, great hire. They got Khalil Mack. They got Allen Robinson, even though he hasn't had a huge year. They still got a premier, you'd think, in quotations, because I'm getting ready to shit all over the Bears. You know, they made the right moves that I thought they needed to make, and I'm ecstatic that the Bears were able to win that division. And I feel like personally that they understood and they realized my support was enough for them to keep their starters in and beat the Minnesota Vikings last week. First up, Philly had to just destroy the Redskins. Too easy. Super too easy. But the bigger thing was, can Kirk Cousins, the $84 million quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings? You got Adam Thielen. You got Kyle Rudolph. You got Stephon Diggs. You got Dalvin Cook. You had a great running game. Can they beat the Bears? Are the Bears even going to play their starters? You know, that game between the Rams and the 49ers for home field advantage was over to halftime. Big shout out to the Niners for giving up like 60 points to the Rams. But rather than play the Minnesota Vikings for a third time, Matt Nagy, trying to be super duper IQ, high IQ play, was like, you know what? Let's win this game. Let's take on the Eagles. I do not want to play the Minnesota Vikings 3 times in a row. Maybe there's a little bit of just, we don't want the Vikings to make the playoffs, which I can respect. But I think ultimately he did not want to play, and this is kind of what I've got from the fan base, the Vikings 3 times. Give me the Eagles. Wrong! The Eagles are the hottest team in the NFC right now. The Eagles have, in the last 3 weeks, we can't talk about the Redskins because they're an embarrassment of a franchise, but they beat Houston Texans, where if you're ranking teams in the AFC, top 3 for sure. They beat the Rams, who there's still a bunch of delusional people that think that they are the best team in the NFC. You want to play that? You want to play the team that's been steamrolling them? You want to play that team that got Nick Foles, the man that's a Super Bowl MVP, playing near that same level? You want that? Or would you just screw playing them 3 times? Just get Kirk Cousins. He's terrible. Kirk Cousins, who has like a 4-26 record against teams with above 500 record. Why wouldn't you want that? Their offensive line is garbage. There's no chemistry between Cousins and his wide receivers. That defense, even though it has a bunch of talented players, is not playing well. Playing them for 3 times, give me that every day of the week over the Philadelphia Eagles. Now you messed up. Mr. Nagy, Matthew P. Nagy, you done did messed up. This Bears team, you gave them big time hope. You said, my God, we got that Philadelphia Eagles offense from last year, which is ultimately that Chiefs offense. We got everyone rolling. Mitchell Trubisky's showing some potential. We got a run game. You're finding unique ways to use Tariq Cohen. Our wide receivers are not that great, but our wide receivers are nice. We got Trey Burton, Mr. Philly himself. Like, he brings that chemistry to the locker room, that winning mentality. Our offensive line is playing well. Defensively, we fleeced the Raiders for Khalil Mack. We got our secondary playing good. Kyle Fuller, a guy that was on the roster bubble a couple years ago, tied for first in the league in 7 picks. You got Eddie Jackson, who every time the ball comes near his hands at the safety spot, takes it the other way for 6. You got Akeem Hicks. You got a great defensive line. You got Roquan Smith, maybe the most overpowered linebacker in Madden history, who's actually pretty damn good in real life too. You had all this hope in a little ball, a little glass ball. It's we're just after the seasons, a little snowball, and everything just says playoffs. Everyone says maybe this is the year. Maybe we're that dark horse team. Maybe we are the Philadelphia Eagles, and you had that ball, and you had that opportunity to take on Kirk Cousins for a third straight time, who had no chance of smashing that ball. Kirk Cousins would take that ball of hope that the Bears fans have, and he would sail it 30 yards over his wide receiver's heads. That's what he would do with that ball. But no, you had to win and give the Philadelphia Eagles a chance. Now with that ball, what's going to happen? It's going to get put on a table. It's going to put on a table, and a lot of Bears fans are going to see it put on that table. They're like, all right, good. It's good that it's still there. It's still on intact. We have a chance. We're going to go on a run. And then out of nowhere, that's going to be Nick Foles' gigantic phallus, his huge piece of junk, his horse leg, his third leg. He's got to smash that ball. You gave Nick Foles an opportunity to go on a run. You gave Nick Foles an opportunity to remind everyone why right now, I'm going to be dead ass on right now. He, after Tom Brady, is probably the best playoff performer quarterback in the league right now. I don't even think that's that much of a hot take. You look at everyone else, they've had a bunch of losses. Nick Foles' record is almost flawless. 3-1 in the playoffs. 1,100 yards. 8 touchdowns to 1 pick. Super Bowl MVP. That's what you got to worry about, Chicago. Soldier Field, that's not a home field advantage. That field sucks. But you much rather play in the Link. Alshon Jeffrey said that's the worst field he's ever played on. That's no advantage for any single team. So what now? You got Nick Foles mad. Nick Foles got rocked. He got some banged up ribs. He's going to want to get out of that game sooner than later. And you know what that means? That's not him just saying, all right, screw it, I'm going to chuck it down. That's just whatever. Let me get out of this game, not injured. I want to maybe cash out in free agency. No. What you've done is you've come in, Chicago, with the #1 ranked defense in the league. Very good defense. I'm saying all this as someone that if the Bears were playing anyone outside of the Eagles this weekend, I'd be pulling for them. You come in with the #1 defense. You come in with all these playmakers. Oh, my God, how is Philly going to handle this defense? You know what happened the last time Philadelphia took on the #1 defense in the league? Oh, they were your rival, the Minnesota Vikings. And what happened in that game? Oh, Nick Foles just shit all over the #1 defense in the league. This defense, great corners. Xavier Rhodes, you had Harrison Smith, Everson Griffin, Linval Joseph, Anthony Barr, Eric Kendricks. Nick Foles just went up for a casual 26 of 33 for 352 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was unstoppable. Now, I don't want to come out and say, like, I think that the Eagles are going to put up the same kind of performance against the Bears defense because, you know, this game obviously was at the Link, home field advantage, which was tremendous for the Eagles last year. But what I'm just saying is I'm trying to revert this back to 2 things that have pissed me off about Bears fans. And ultimately, I'll tell you right now, I enjoy the Bears fan base. Most of the Bears fans that I've interacted with have been top-notch. 10 out of 10 are excited for this matchup. And if they do shit talk, they're good shit talkers. You know, they go back and forth with me. They're not just salty fans like I've dealt with in the past with Minnesota Viking fans, Cowboy fans, Giant fans, Patriot fans, pretty much every other fan base. Good fan base. But one thing is that they think that their defense is this untouchable defense that they forget what Nick Foles did against the last untouchable defense that they went up against the playoffs. So Nick Foles is going to be good. Nick Foles is fire. You got Alshon Jeffrey and Nick Foles might be the hottest quarterback-wide receiver combination going in the league entering the playoffs. Undeniable. It's literally incredible. It makes me frustrated that Carson Wentz wasn't getting the looks to Alshon Jeffrey. Or maybe he was, and he was just keep checking down to Zach Ertz, and that was a result of the back injury and him not wanting to get hit, so he has a quick release, not staying in the pocket enough. But this is not going to be neither here nor there because we're not talking about Carson Wentz and Nick Foles because Nick Foles is the man this weekend. So you got to try to stop Alshon. And then you look at the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line playing incredibly well. And that brings you to part 2 of what's kind of upsetting me about the Bears fan base is they think there's not a chance in hell that our offensive line can stand up to their defense. Let me tell you two things. One, Lane Johnson went up against Khalil Mack last year. Only negative from that game. The only positive, actually, we'll turn it that way. The only positive that Khalil Mack got out of that game was he got one holding call against Lane Johnson. Other than that, didn't sniff the quarterback. Who's the quarterback? It was Nick Foles. It wasn't like it was Carson Wentz being able to scramble and make Khalil Mack mix. It was Nick Foles back there, and Lane Johnson pitched a shutout. Lane Johnson, as of right now, is the kryptonite to the unstoppable force off the edge that is known as Khalil Mack. And you go, oh, we got Goldman, we got Hicks. Yeah, well, we got Jason Kelsey, Pro Football Focus, #1 grade at center almost every goddamn year for the last 3 years. Oh, we also got Brandon Brooks, consistently a top 5 guard rated in the NFL. Like, the fact that it seems like no Chicago Bear fan is giving our offensive line any respect is laughable to me. So from that standpoint, those are the two talking points against the Bears fans that what I've been able to take in making this video that have kind of like, I got to shut that shit down real quick. So now looking at my analysis for this matchup, I think it's going to be a hard game. It's going to be a very hard game. I think the fact that I don't see Philadelphia being able to run the ball against the Chicago Bears being a little frustrating because it kind of makes you one-dimensional. And anytime you're going up against a secondary, which it looks like Eddie Jackson, who's a very good safety, his status is going to be up in the air. From right now, it looks like it might be 50-50. You still got Kyle Fuller out there, a guy that was on the roster bubble only a couple of years ago, had 7 picks, tied for first in the league. I do think, however, Alshon Jeffrey is a very good mismatch against Kyle Fuller. Kyle Fuller is not going to be able to out-jump him. He's not going to be able to out-box him. He's not going to be able to out-physical him. So then it comes down to the tight ends. Good, decent tight ends. Kwiatkowski, Roquan Smith, Danny Trevathan. You got Leonard Floyd. But I think the way that Philadelphia uses their tight ends with Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, I don't know if they're going to be able to cover them. I don't think that those linebackers are, while they're not bad cover linebackers, obviously Roquan Smith is a freak. He hasn't stood out against tight ends this year. He hasn't stood out against a Darren Sproles. I think from that standpoint, Philly can pick on their linebackers a little bit. So yes, between the trenches, it's going to be one hell of a battle. But I think when you go beyond that, everything's a good matchup for the Philadelphia Eagles. The one thing I can say against this offense is the brain farts of Nick Foles. Over his tenure since he's taken over for Carson Wentz, he's done very, very well, but it seems 1 or 2 times a game he has a brain fart. We had a couple bad picks, a couple bad fumbles that he should not be taking. He'll make it up with like 5 or 6 great plays, but he has those brain farts, and a defense that's as good as the Chicago Bears will make you pay for those brain farts. So that is really the only worry and concern I have from the offensive side. Defensively, for the Eagles, this is where I think they have to win, because I think the biggest X factor out of either team is how Trubisky plays. How is Mitchell Trubisky to handle the pressure of the playoffs? He has not looked consistent at all this year. He's had some big games. He's had some not really good games. But, you know, in all, Bears fans, again, if you were playing any other team, not the Eagles, I'd be pulling for you. Trubisky looks still promising, but he's not that finished product right yet. So I still think how Mitchell Trubisky plays, how Fletcher Cox, who might be, you know, I'm pretty sure he got Defensive Player of the Week. He's got 5 or 6.5 sacks over the last 4 games. He is a monster right now. If he can affect Mitchell Trubisky, I think that's the key for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's not Nick Foles having that Saint Nick magic and, you know, the Super Bowl MVP or anything like that. It's not Alshon Jeffrey with a favorable matchup or Darren Sproles or the offensive line stopping Khalil Mack. It's going to be, what does Mitchell Trubisky do? Mitchell Trubisky is going to have to win this game for the Bears, and I don't think he can. I think when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles defense, they want to shit all over our secondary when they're not realizing that our secondary is actually playing the best it has all year long. Avonte Maddox stepped in, has been very, very good. We might have Sidney Jones back healthy. If not, Malcolm Jenkins is playing out of his mind. You still have some targets. Corey Graham is garbage. Rasul Douglas can get beat with speed, but Rasul Douglas also, you want to test him, he'll probably pick the ball off if you throw him some weak-ass Mitchell Trubisky passes. So while I think that the defense, now that we're talking about that, it's obviously not as strong as the offense, I think ultimately defense can cause enough problems against Mitchell Trubisky to make his day a living hell. Now, what we do know about the Bears offense is they will get creative. Speedsters can hurt the Eagles. Eagles are not necessarily a fast defense, so Tariq Cohen and Taylor Gabriel getting screens, getting gimmick runs and stuff like that, that can actually kind of hurt the Eagles. But I do not think for one second that Jordan Howard, power running backs do not succeed. Occasionally, Zeke Elliott, just because he gets 50 goddamn carries a game, can have an all right game. But for the most part, Philly is designed to stop these between the tackle runners. We got Timmy Jernigan back healthy. He is playing very, very well stopping the run. We got Jordan Hicks healthy, one of the better linebackers in the NFC. So I think the run game is not really, really worrying me, but definitely using Cohen out on screens and stuff like that, that can cause problems for the Philadelphia Eagles. But from a wide receiver standpoint, unless they hope Gabriel can just pick apart, Allen Robinson, not worried. Tight ends, Trey Burton, not really worried. So ultimately, when it comes down to it, I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's, I'm not going to be super pissed off if the Philadelphia Eagles lose, because with all the injuries, just not being that team that won the Super Bowl and didn't make the playoffs is almost enough for me. Everything else, we're playing with house money. And if I had to lose to any team in the NFC, it would be the Bears. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Mitchell Trubisky is going to struggle. Khalil Mack is going to get locked up by Lane Johnson. And I'm going to say right now, 2 touchdowns for Alshon Jeffrey. Philadelphia is going to win a close one, 24-17. We're going to get out of Soldier Field with the dub. We're going to walk into New Orleans with revenge on the mind. That's for another video. So thank you guys for watching. Really, really excited for this game. What do you guys think? I know most of you guys are going to watch this. Going to be Eagles fans, but there's going to be some Chicago Bears fans, some neutrals that want to let their voices be heard. Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. As I stated, yes, I've had a lot of technical difficulties. I've been trying to get out Huskies and trying to get out, North Dakota State buys and all that stuff. It's just been impossible, but I will have it all ready for tomorrow. So make sure you check that out. We're not, like I said, we're not changing. We're not just going to be a football opinion channel or anything crazy like that. So this is the last one. Fly, Eagles, fly. Subscribe if you're new. Smash the like button. Definitely leave a comment for your thoughts on the game, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.